This man had been lying on the ground for 48 hours, but he didn't dare to move. Behind him was a 100-meter cliff. If he fell, he would be crushed to death. He dug his fingers into the ground, but the sand was too loose. He couldn't hold on and started sliding toward the cliff. Luckily, his face stopped his body from slipping further. But just then, his phone rang inside his backpack. He wanted to answer it and call for help, but he was afraid of falling. He adjusted his position, pressed his face to the ground, and switched hands to take out the phone. But right as he touched the phone, he slipped again. Luckily, he got stuck on the edge of the cliff. Below were sharp and solid rocks. He grabbed the sand tightly and started murmuring to himself. He was counting the timing of the waves hitting the rocks. He wanted to use the waves to soften his fall. After finishing the count, he let go and jumped. He landed in the sea, but the water was too shallow. His hip hit the rocks. Still, he managed to float up. After reaching the shore, he checked his body. Except for some injuries on his palms, everything else seemed fine, but as he stood up to leave, he collapsed on the rocks. His feet were hurt, and he started to lose feeling in them. Suddenly, he remembered he could use his phone to call for help. But the phone was soaked. No matter how he pressed, it didn't work. He shouted for help, but no one could hear him. He had no choice. He wrapped his wounds and tried to sleep to regain strength. When he opened his eyes again, he had calmed down. He looked around. The cliff was too high. He couldn't climb back. Luckily, there was a small island behind him. He could swim there. He rolled into the water. But things were not that simple. His feet were numb. One hand was injured. He could only use the other hand to move forward slowly. He didn't get far before he ran out of energy. A sharp pain hit his stomach. He swallowed a large mouthful of water and began to sink. But then he thought of his wife. He suddenly had a strong will to live. He swung his one hand and swam upward. At last, he surfaced again. Swimming to the island was impossible now. He had to return to where he started. He lay on the beach, not moving. Then a wave brought in a surfboard. He crawled toward it with all his strength. After tying the surfboard to himself, he began crawling into the sea. At that moment, a ship appeared in front of him. He shouted for help, but the waves drowned his voice. Soon, he couldn't hold on anymore. The ship was gone. He lost hope and sank into the sea. Then, a huge shadow appeared on the surface. It wasn't a shark. It was the same ship. A man in a diving suit jumped down to save him. He was finally rescued.